Look, I want to make something perfectly clear to start with. This is definitely not some sort of adult toy. Probably. This is the new Home Assistant Connect ZBT-2 from the Open Home Foundation. That's the organisation that's behind Home Assistant. It's a Zigbee and Thread adapter, and every aspect of this gadget is designed to make it the best that you can buy. Physically, it's very different to your usual USB Zigbee adapters, and this form factor is deliberate. The antenna is not just there for knob jokes, it's actually optimally designed to provide the best possible radio coverage for Zigbee and Thread networks. And to support such a hefty antenna, you need a sturdy base as well. It connects using a USB cable. There's a USB-C port in the base, but the supplied cable has a USB-A end for plugging straight into a Raspberry Pi. So to really understand what this product is about, we need to jump back in time a bit. This is the original Home Assistant Sky Connect, which was rebranded as the ZBT-1. This is what the ZBT-2 is replacing. Now, I bought this a couple of years ago when it first came out, partially because I wanted to review it for the channel, but also because I was curious. It's a combined Zigbee and Thread adapter, meaning it could run both at the same time. Well, in theory anyway. The truth is, it never worked properly, and that's why I have never made a video about it. I couldn't get it to work reliably for long enough. Even if I stuck it in just Zigbee only mode, it wouldn't work as well as the old combi stick that I am still using to this day. But they don't actually make this old ZBT-1 adapter anymore. Well, it's definitely not going to work now. The new ZBT-2 adapter is either a Zigbee adapter or a Thread adapter. You have to choose which protocol you are going to use with it, and that's because multi-protocol adapters at the moment are not quite there yet. The technology just isn't ready, so this is a sensible move in my opinion. I've been running it in Zigbee mode continuously for a few weeks now, and I can confirm it is very stable. And when I say stable, I mean I have connected some test Zigbee devices to it and tested them every few days to make sure that they are still connected. With the old Sky Connect, the devices would basically drop off the network after a day or so, or if I rebooted Home Assistant, then the devices would stop working. I know this sounds silly because it's the very bare minimum basic functionality for a Zigbee controller. If you add a device to your Zigbee network, you kind of expect it to stay connected to that network and continue working forever. And that's what you are getting with this adapter. The basics done very well with all of the lessons learned from the problems that they had with the first adapter. So this adapter is designed to work with Home Assistant, and all you do is plug it in. That's it. Home Assistant will detect it automatically and give you the option to set up ZHA. Within Home Assistant, you can now choose to configure the adapter for Zigbee or Thread, or even update its firmware if there is an update available. If you are a beginner or just want an easy life, using ZHA is the way to go because it's pretty much just plug and play. But if you need the widest possible support for as many devices as possible and fine-grained data from your devices, then this adapter also supports Zigbee-2 MQTT. Now, I'll show you an example of the differences later. For now though, I'm going to show you this SmartThings multi-sensor in action as an example. This is a great device to demo because it has so many sensors built in. It's a door contact sensor, a temperature sensor and a vibration sensor all in one. So we have to start by putting ZHA into pairing mode, and we do this by going down to settings in Home Assistant, across to devices and services, and then across the top here you'll see a tab for devices. We now click on add device and we want to add a Zigbee device, and I need to put the Zigbee sensor into pairing mode, and I think for this one I just push in there for about 5 seconds. Oh, something is working on the screen. Device found, starting interview. This could take a few seconds, could take a few minutes. It says interview complete. Device is ready to use, and it's called it a Samjin Multi ZHA. I mean, a bit of an odd name. I mean, it is a Samsung SmartThings sensor. Used to be Samsung SmartThings. You can see that's quite magnetic there. So let's accept the device name we've got. If I click on back now, I should be able to go back a bit more. And then we're going to go to Devices and Services, and we should see Zigbee Home Automation, 2 devices available underneath it. We've got one for the ZBT-2, that's the main controller, and now we want to look at this one here. Oh, hang on, this is getting a bit magnetic. The little SIM removing tools sticking to it. Right, let's open up Samjin Multi ZHA and look at what we've got. So you can see I can open it, and it's pretty responsive in that respect. It says it's moving. I wonder if I can put it down and see if it stops moving. I think it's got like a 30-second timeout on the accelerometer for this particular integration. So I might have to wait a minute for it to say that it's not moving. There we go, not moving. And if I pick it up, moving. See, that's really responsive. Opening and closing is also quite responsive there. You can see open, closed, and you've got the temperature as well, just in case you needed to know how warm my hand is right now. ZHA supports a huge number of devices, but sometimes you might find that it doesn't support a specific device or feature, and that's where Zigbee to MQTT comes in. I'm not going to cover how to set up Zigbee to MQTT. That would be a whole tutorial in itself, but we will take a quick look at it in action with the ZBT-2. So you can't use ZHA and Zigbee to MQTT at the same time. They both need access to the serial adapter. So I've had to disable ZHA for the moment so as I can configure Zigbee to MQTT for this demo. So this is all up and working. I've got a little test switch here that I've connected for the moment, and you can see that's pulling up information on the screen there whenever I press it. But what we're going to do is look at the settings, and if I go to here in settings and under serial, you can see that to get it to talk to the ZBT-2, you have to tell it the type of adapter is Ember. And this is the most crucial bit, the baud rate here, the bit rate that Zigbee to MQTT needs to know to communicate with the ZBT-2 adapter is 460,800. Now that's an unusual speed. That's a lot faster than normal because most Zigbee adapters only communicate at 115,200. In fact, it says it just here most commonly. So most of the adapters I've seen before all use that speed, but this adapter uses a much faster baud rate. So let's try and pair the same Samjin sensor that it was calling it. It's the Samsung multi-sensor. So we need to put Zigbee to MQTT into pairing mode. And we do that by clicking on this permit join button here, and we've now got just over 4 minutes to get this connected. So I'm going to do the same as I did before. I'm going to take the SIM tool and I'm going to poke it into the little slot, into the little reset hole, and hopefully it's now flashing with a little red LED. We should see that connect. There we go, it's popped up, multi-purpose sensor. So I'm going to just leave that nice and still for the moment, and I'm going to open and close the contact sensor a few times, because what we don't want is for the sensor to fall asleep during the pairing process. Let's have a look at the details of the sensor to see what we've got. Okay, there's lots of stuff there. It's exposing a temperature, a contact, battery. Let's have a look. That's the motion sensor and the accelerometer values. I think that's working. Let's what we're going to do is we're going to, oh, don't know what I'm doing there. We're going to give it a name, and I'm going to call this Samjin Multi Zigbee to MQTT. We're going to update the Home Assistant entity ID so as we can find it easily. There we go, device renamed. Now let's go on the hunt. Devices, Samjin, there it is, Samjin Multi Z2 MQTT. Right, let's see if it works. So there we go, I just touched the sensor and it says moving, so that's working. Let's try the door sensor. Open and close. It's not doing anything yet. I've just noticed this little red triangle which says interview state failed. I think I must have messed around with it too early. So I'm actually going to do this little reconfigure button. Let's say, are you sure? Yes, reconfigure. And then I'm just going to hold this down again the little sim tool in there, and then we'll get that flashing. And I'm just going to leave that for a couple of minutes, and I'll come back in a second once it has connected properly. There we go, yeah, that's all working now. That was my fault for starting to play with it before it had finished getting all the features from the device. So I must have interrupted the process there somehow. These things happen. They'll happen to you as well if you're messing around with Zigbee a lot. So that's how you get around it. You just reconfigure the device, like press the pairing button again. And now the contact sensor is closed. It's open, it's closed. You can see it's moving. You can see we've got a temperature, so my hand is even warmer than it was before. And what you can see here now is X, Y and Z axis. Now that is all related to the motion detection that's inside this, to the accelerometers. So with the ZHA integration, you literally just got, is this moving or not moving? But now you've actually got spatial details here, so you can say you can tell whether it's the x-axis that is moving more or the y-axis. You can see if I tilt it that way, you can see how the z-axis there is just shot to -1001. If I turn it that way up, hopefully we get a different value. There we go, 969, so it's the other way around. So that way is the z-axis. What's this one? Is that the x-axis? That must be the x-axis. Oh no, y-axis. But yeah, you can tell what position this is in using Zigbee to MQTT, whereas you don't get that data exposed in ZHA. But what if you want to get even more advanced and start tinkering with the firmware of the device itself? Well, you can even do that because the whole thing has been designed to easily come apart. So we start by unscrewing the shaft, aerial. We just unscrew that there like so. This also pops apart, so you can unscrew that and you can see it's not a lot there, to be honest. It's just a piece of transparent plastic, and this transparent bit here is actually nice and squeaky, like a light conduit. Because if we look just inside here, you can see there's the main aerial contact, and inside there are 4 little RGB LEDs, and they sort of transmit the light to the end of this here. So the tip of the shaft, aerial, can glow different colours depending on different statuses. Now those statuses have changed a bit over the course of the development process, so I'm not entirely sure what the different colours mean at the moment, but yeah, there's definitely some sort of colour scheme for what red or blue means on this aerial. Right, opening this up is very easy. Let me show you. So there's 4 rubber feet just here, and I'm just going to use the end of a screwdriver to ease them out. Look, that popped out quite easy. So there's 2, and oh, I just scratched that, never mind. 3 and 4, they just pop out like that. And then we've got 4 Phillips screws there, so they just unscrew very easily. Let me speed this up for you. Okay, once the screws are removed, it is so easy to open this up because it's just like that. It just screws together that easily. So I'm going to put this bit to one side, and we're going to have a look at this board here. Now this is how all circuit boards should be designed, in my opinion, because look, they've got lots of notes. They've actually put notes and guidance on the board itself. So you can see here, this is ESP GPIO pins, so you've got 10 pins here if you wanted to connect up GPIO sensors to the GPIO ports on the ESP32 controller that's on this board. You've got tag connect interface for Zigbee or Thread chip, so if you needed to program the actual Zigbee chip there, you would connect there. That's the Zigbee chip itself. You can see Zigbee/Thread chip there because they've got a little arrow pointing to it. LEDs to add some ambience. Now that is a nice little touch there. And then the absolute unit of a Zigbee thread antenna. Wow, okay, so they really have given you all the notes. And then the last one here is the SWD interface for the Zigbee thread chip. So if you know what most of those mean, then great. I'm familiar with ESP GPIO pins. I've used those for quite a few little projects, but most of these connectors are beyond me. But let's just open this up, take this board out and have a look on the other side. Need a better screwdriver. Now if I take this out and we look on the other side, we have got, need something to point with, this says ESP32S3, so that is just here. You've got a three-axis sensor, so there's a gyroscope in this as well, is there? Right, that's interesting. And then down here is the button, so click, click, that is the button you'd use for doing things like resetting or pairing, that sort of thing. Wow, so it does come apart very easily, and plenty of options for those who like tinkering. So if you wanted to turn this into some sort of ultra multi-sensor device, then you absolutely can if you wanted to. Reprogramming this thing is beyond my knowledge, I'll be honest with you there. I've played around with ESP32 and Arduino, my sensors devices, but programming this thing without totally messing it up is something that I will leave to the experts. So what's the main difference then between this and something like the SM Lite adapters that I've reviewed previously? Well, the ZBT-2 does not support power over Ethernet. It's a USB adapter, so it's still going to be tied to your Home Assistant server wherever you have that. The SL-ZB06 is a self-contained Zigbee controller that works over the network, so you can put it centrally in your home quite easily for optimal coverage. But the SM Lite adapter is more expensive and more power hungry. The ZBT-2 works out at £40 to £50 including delivery, depending on where you buy it from. But placement of this isn't massively important because it has such a highly engineered antenna, and Zigbee is a mesh network, don't forget, so it only takes a couple of carefully placed powered Zigbee devices to act as repeaters and you're sorted. I'm sure you'll have a couple of smart plugs in your mesh which will do this for you. So will I use this adapter myself? Well, I am still running on my combi stick, even though when I got the SM Lite adapters I planned to move over to one of those for the better coverage. I just didn't get around to it because migrating between adapters can be a bit of a pain. But Nabucasa have a whole bunch of guides on their website to help you through the process of switching adapters, so this time I might actually give it a go. It won't be totally straightforward, I know that, but it's tried and tested and possible. Anyway, I hope that you found this little overview useful and interesting. If you want to buy one of these, then I'll make sure I put some links down in the description. Please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for free to see more from me. A massive thank you as always to my amazing channel members and patrons listed here. If you'd like to support the channel by becoming a member or a patron, then check out the links down in the description. In return, you'll get early access to my videos and some bonus content too. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.